of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Today is a new day in my life, and I am free to release the past. I am filled with new inspiration for the endless possibilities. Today I make a new start, tuning my heart to the loving wisdom of God. So now I let go. Let all of my old worries go. And this is what I choose to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you. Thank you, Quiet Fire. And I'd like to start the morning by wishing you a happy Sunday morning, welcoming you and your family and friends. If you're here on our YouTube, welcome. We're glad you're with us. Is there anybody who might be here for the first time? If you could just raise your hand so we can be sure that we've given you a little welcome packet. Right here in the back, Janae, under the clock. She'll take care of you. Welcome. We're glad you're with us today. And welcome back, Willow. Good to have you home again. I just have a few announcements today. First of all, the new to you needs you to make it work. So we do have sign-up sheets out in the foyer. There's an orange tablecloth. Please sign up to volunteer for either the setting up on the week prior or the sale that's on Friday and Saturday, the 17th and 18th, I believe is the date. I also wanted to make an announcement. You know that we support the Interfaith Coalition and Family Promise, and they are going to be having the fourth annual Family Promise bed race. So if you're interested in creating a bed that you can race in downtown Bellingham, it's at the Civic Field parking lot, and it's on Sunday, September 26th from 2 to 4, and there's a website here for more information. This is going to end up in the announcement, what is that thing? The outdoor announcement center that's behind glass. So if you need more information about that, there it will be. And Miss Janae has an announcement for us.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, are you timing yourself?
No.
Oh, okay. It looked like there was a timing there.
Clear in a moment.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, the board of directors has gotten together and discussed what we're going to do because tomorrow starts the requirement for wearing masks indoors, okay? So the board of directors got together this weekend and decided that we're going to be doing the same thing. So starting next Sunday when you come in, you'll be wearing your mask at all times, whether you're vaccinated or not. Until things get a little bit different, that's how they've decided to handle it. It's the same thing when you come in to see me or whatnot, please wear your mask. That's about all that needs to be said about that. There's nothing we can do. It is a requirement. Also remember that we still keep our distance when we're gathering around. It still stays the same. Distance from the music, the podium. So when the singers are here, we can still have the small choir. It still has not changed. It's still the same. So 15 feet, 12 feet, we keep our distance when we're socializing, okay? When you can take your mask off when you're singing, and then you put them right back on again, just as if, we're doing the talking up here. If you have any further opinions or how you feel about it, you can see me after service, and then we can discuss it. Okay? Thank you, everyone. I got this.
Thank you. Thank you, Janae. And so now the reason that I have my phone up here. Today we have a guest speaker, Nina Clark. Nina found a home in New Thought in 1996 and has been a devoted and ardent student ever since. Learning, growing, and sharing ideas is a passion of hers, and she has been teaching in one capacity or another for most of her adult life. She was ordained in 1987 in another spiritual tradition. Turn the page. And she has been licensed as a Unity minister since 2020, and she will be ordained as a Unity minister in September of this year. She is also currently working towards her New Thought Interfaith Minister credential and a Master's of Religious Studies. She is the mother of 2 young adults and a lover of this adventure we call life. She is looking forward to practicing and growing with us here at Unity Spiritual Center, and she is currently living in Mill Creek and is the associate minister at the Linwood Unity. So we welcome you today, Nina. Thank you so much for being with us. And now we're going to move into our time of service by saying together our 5 principles of unity. And if you have the little card that has them on there, please pull that out now and we'll say these principles together. Together, God is good and present in all things. The holiness of God is my own true nature. I am creating my experiences by how I'm thinking. My thinking is guided by my daily affirmative prayers and affirmative actions. I follow and am sustained by these values in every way, every day, and so it is. And now, as we prepare for our time of reflection and meditation, please hold the words of our meditation hymn quietly in your heart.
I surrender to the will of God, abandon all thoughts of my own. I surrender to the will of God, in whom all things are known. I surrender to the will of God, abandon all thoughts of my own. I surrender to the will of God, in whom all things are known. I am led, I am guided, I am loved, I am blessed. I am led, I am guided, I am loved, I am blessed. I surrender to the will of God, abandon all thoughts of my own. I surrender to the will of God, in whom all things are known.
Good morning. Please take a breath with me and allow that breath to settle you in this moment. Breathe and allow this breath to relax your body. Breathe and then mentally step back, and from the place of the observer, allow yourself to be aware of breathing. and allow that to settle into you as the I am. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable in your chair or recliner. And if you're in our virtual sanctuary, floor or bed, sitting or lying down, and close your eyes. And take a breath in and scrunch the muscles of your face. And as you exhale, allow your facial muscles to relax and soften. Breathe in and raise your shoulders up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, allow your shoulders to relax and soften. Breathe into your chest and allow your chest and ribs to expand. And as you exhale, allow your chest and ribs to relax and soften. And then breathe into your abdomen, and as you exhale, allow your abdomen to relax and soften. Breathe in and go ahead and tighten your legs. Tighten the muscles of your legs, and as you exhale, allow your legs to relax and soften. And then breathe in and go ahead and scrunch your feet and your toes. And as you exhale, allow your feet and your toes to relax and soften. And then bring your attention to your breath. And by doing so, allow yourself to come into this present moment. And now imagine that you're walking along a mountain trail. The air is comfortably warm, the sky a brilliant blue, and there are wildflowers in every imaginable color along the path. And as you round a bend, you see the entrance to a cave. And the entrance is wide and spacious, and you can see a golden glow emanating from within. You enter that cave and see that it is no ordinary cave. The walls themselves are glowing with golden light. Walking deeper into the cave, you see a stone pedestal. And on this pedestal is an egg-shaped stone. And it too is glowing a brilliant gold. It's so bright, you almost have to squint to look at it. Gently, you pick the glowing egg-shaped stone off the pedestal, and as you do, it vanishes. And simultaneously, you feel warmth in your chest. Go ahead and feel into that warmth. For that warmth is unconditional love. Feel the peace of it as it spreads throughout your chest, into your arms and down your legs and up into your head until you feel that you are a glowing orb of light. Feel the wisdom that is interlaced with that unconditional love spread throughout your chest, into your arms, down your legs, up into your head. You are radiant with the light of love and wisdom now. And now feel into that stillness within. Settle into the peace there. Let the wisdom and guidance that is there for you rise up within you and make itself known to you. For there is only one life, one power, and one presence that is in and through and back of all the manifest world. And this life, this presence, this power has individuated as you. Because being one, it can be no other way. This one life is your life. This one power sources you. This one presence is who you are. And the knowing of this truth gives you the wisdom to know that which is yours to do. It gives you the strength to cast aside fear and doubt, and emboldens you to step into the fullness of the light which you came here to shine. And so it is. And if you would, please join me now in speaking the words of our Lord's Prayer. Together, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Three.
Your phone is still here. Should I do something? Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me here to converse with you this morning. I am so delighted to be back here in your beautiful tree house. I remember being told the first time I came here, don't be alarmed if everyone suddenly starts going, because there's a deer walking behind me. So I was told that your Sunday messages right now are following the 12 powers as introduced by Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. And this month I'm told that you are focusing on the power of will, again, as introduced by Charles Fillmore. And because I'm speaking to you on this fourth Sunday of the month, I am going to assume that someone prior to me has given you all the basic information about the power or ability of will. And so I would like to begin by telling you one of my favorite stories. It's a true story by an Aikido master named Terry Dobson, who passed in 1992. It all happened when he was riding on a train in the suburbs of Tokyo. It was the middle of a lazy spring afternoon, and the car held only a handful of people. And at one sleepy little station, the doors opened, and the quiet was shattered by a man yelling and swearing at the top of his lungs. And just as the doors closed, the man, still yelling, stumbled into Terry's car. He was a big man, and he was drunk, and he was dirty, and he was raging angry, and he was cursing and calling the passengers names that I cannot repeat in church. The moment he stepped into the car, the drunk man began trying to release his anger on those around him. He swung at a mother who was holding her baby, and he tried to kick an elderly woman. And when he missed, he took his anger out on one of those metal poles in the center of the car by trying to wrench it off the floor. So at the time, Terry was young, 6 feet tall, 225 pounds, and in really good shape from having put in 8 hours a day of Aikido training for 3 years. However, he had never actually used Aikido in an actual fight. His teacher, who was the founder of Aikido, forbade it unless absolute necessity demanded the protection of other people. Terry's teacher taught his students that Aikido was nonviolent. Aikido, his teacher would say over and over, is the art of reconciliation. To use it to enhance one's ego or to dominate other people is to betray totally the purpose for which it is practiced. Our mission is to resolve conflict, not generate it. And while Terry had heard those words every day for the past 3 years, he had continued to dream about a moment where a legitimate situation would arise where he could defend the innocent by kicking some butt. In other words, Terry wanted to fight, and he saw this moment as the legitimate situation. If he didn't take this guy out, people would get hurt, right? And so Terry stood up. He couldn't throw the first punch, and so he had to get the guy to attack him first. So not only did he stand up, he egged the man on with his eyes and with his own behavior. And just as the drunk man started to lunge at him in response, someone shouted, "Hey!" It was a loud, ear-slitting, "Hey!" But Terry remembers it as strangely joyous, with like a lilting quality to it, as though you and a friend had been searching diligently for something and had suddenly stumbled upon it. "Hey!" They both stared down at this tiny, immaculate, old Japanese gentleman that neither had noticed. The man took no notice of Terry, but beamed delightedly at the drunk man as though he had a most important, most welcome secret to share. "Come here and talk to me," the old man said. He waved his hand lightly, and the big man followed as if on a string. He planted his feet belligerently in front of the old gentleman and yelled, "Why should I talk to you?" The old man beamed without a trace of fear or resentment. "What you been drinking?" he asked lightly, his eyes sparkling with interest. "Sake," the laborer replied, "and what business of it is yours?" "Oh, that's wonderful," said the old man. "I just love sake. Every night, me and my wife, she's 76, you know, we warm up a little bottle of sake and take it out into the garden. And we sit on that old bench that my grandfather's student made for him. We watch the evening fade, and we look to see how our persimmon tree is doing. My great-grandfather planted that tree, you know, and we're kind of worried about whether it would recover from the ice storms we had last winter, because they do not do well after ice storms, you know, although I must say ours has done rather well, much better than I expected, especially when you consider the poor quality of the soil. But anyway, we take our little jug of sake, and we go out to enjoy the evening by our tree, even when it rains." And he beamed up at the laborer, his eyes twinkling. As he struggled to follow the intricacies of the old man's conversation, the drunk's face began to soften. His fists slowly unclenched. "Yeah," he said slowly, I love sake too." His voice trailed off. "Yes," said the old man, smiling, "and I'm sure you have a wonderful wife." "No," replied the laborer, shaking his head sadly. "My wife died." And within moments, the drunk man was sobbing. Through tears streaming down his face, he told the old gentleman that he'd lost everything: his job, his wife, his home, and he was filled with shame. My, said the old man, patting the seat next to him. "That is a very difficult predicament indeed. Why don't you sit down here and tell me about it?" Just then, the train arrived at Terry's stop. Before he stepped off the train, he looked back and saw the laborer sprawled on the seat with his head in the old man's lap. And the old gentleman was looking down at him kindly, a beatific mixture of delight and compassion beaming from his eyes, one hand softly stroking the filthy, matted head. As the train pulled away, Terry slumped down on a bench, feeling deeply ashamed. He realized that he had entirely missed the point of that which he had studied diligently 8 hours a day for 3 years. Because he'd wanted to fight. He had betrayed the essence of Aikido as reconciliation. He recognized that he had seen a true Aikido master, and an old man had been able to accomplish with a few kind words something that Terry never could have with fists and feet. So right now, you might be wondering why I would begin by telling you this story when I'm supposed to be talking to you about the power of will. What are you doing, Nina? Well, because I'm a rubber meets the road kind of person, and because Unity teaches a practical Christianity, I like to look at real-world applications for any and all of our spiritual tools and understanding, at how they can show up in our lives. So, the funny thing about the power of will is we are always using it, whether consciously or unconsciously. The power of will, as I'm sure you've heard this month, is defined as the ability to choose, decide, command, direct, and determine based on the senses, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, or from a higher spiritual awareness. We can use will to make life-enhancing choices or not. And the power of will puts legs on all of the other powers. Paul Hasselbeck, author of Power Up, who wrote kind of a modernized clarification of the 12 powers that Charles Fillmore originally wrote. Paul Hasselbeck writes, "The power of will actually moves all of the other abilities into action." So think about it. We choose what we believe. So the power of faith. We choose when, where, and for what we will stay the course for. Power of strength. We choose what we will judge and when we will apply what we know. The power of judgment. We choose what we desire, need, require, and for whom we have the greatest regard or the highest regard. The power of love. We choose what we master or have dominion over. The power of power. We choose what we visualize. The power of imagination. We choose what we know. The power of understanding. We choose when and what we organize, sequence, or adjust. The power of order. We choose what we are passionate about. The power of zeal. We choose what we will deny or get rid of. The power of elimination. And we choose what we vitalize or enliven. The power of life. Will works in conjunction with all of the other powers by moving them from inaction into action. So back to the story. I won't leave you hanging with that one. I love this story of the man on the train because we could pull nuggets of learning and wisdom from it for hours. But to glean and to pull this time that which relates to the power of will, I think that this story, among other things, is a tale of choices. And most important, I think that this story illustrates how we bring who we think we are to the choices we make. And I think that the story tells the tale of only one conscious choice being made on the train that day, and that was the choice made by the old man. Even though Terry could articulate the words of his teacher, and he probably even had them memorized, he had not embodied them. Although Terry had heard the words of his teacher over and over and knew that Aikido was the art of reconciliation based on nonviolence, what he carried in his subconscious, what was invisible within himself to himself, had him hearing the teachings through the lens of overcoming or overpowering. His lens kept the compassion, empathy, and reconciliation that Aikido embodies from entering the equation. And so the choices he made were based on those unconscious beliefs rather than from that higher spiritual place that his Aikido master was teaching him. He literally could not see that his wanting to fight the drunk man was not in alignment with the Aikido teachings because his subconscious beliefs were so powerful and so invisible to him. And I think that the drunk man's choice to use sake as a means to handle his grief and shame was also likely not a conscious choice. Deeply held, unconscious beliefs likely led him to feel that drinking to excess was the only thing that he could do. And I think this story also illustrates the choice that can be made when we are aligned with divine mind. Choices made from a higher spiritual awareness. The old man on the train embodied the essence of Aikido as reconciliation. His choice was conscious. His choice came from a divine place of love and enabled him to see through the drunk man's anger, to see the essence of him, to know that they were one, to see his Christ nature, and to speak to that. And the old gentleman's will, his choices activated the power of love, the power of understanding, the power of judgment, and the power of faith. And the result was that the drunk man felt seen and heard and cared for and safe enough to grieve. And perhaps from that moment, he was able to make more life-enhancing choices for himself. I share this story with you because I believe that the choices that we make are deeply and profoundly influenced by the state of our consciousness. New Thought writer Neville Goddard says, "You are one with your present conception of yourself." And so in my humble opinion, one of the best uses we can make of our will is to choose to clear our consciousness of the baggage that holds us down. When we make the choice to do our work, then our consciousness reflects that divine love, that wisdom, that intelligence in the little details of our lives, effortlessly. This is important work we do in our inner landscape. It changes us, it changes you, it changes me, and in so doing, it changes the world. Paul Hasselbeck, in his book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics, writes, "The highest expression of human will is willingness." When I am willing to release the thoughts that make me small and fearful and angry and unforgiving, I am lifted up. My heart is more open. I see things differently. And by doing this work, it changes the world because it changes how I interact with the world. It changes how you interact with the world. Because how you and I behave moment to moment, experience to experience, matters. Doing our inner work influences our choices. It makes a difference. And we need to use our will to be both willing to release these old beliefs as well as to actually release them. Author Dean Koontz puts it this way: "Not one day in anyone's life is an uneventful day. No day without profound meaning, no matter how dull and boring it may seem. No matter whether you are a seamstress or a queen, a shoeshine boy or a movie star, a renowned philosopher or a Down syndrome child. Because in every day of your life, there are opportunities to perform little kindnesses for others. And each smallest act of kindness, even just words of hope when they are needed, or the remembrance of a birthday, a compliment that engenders a smile, reverberates across great distances and spans of time, affecting lives unknown to the one whose generous spirit was the source of this good echo. Because kindness is passed on and grows each time it's passed until a simple courtesy becomes an act of selfless courage years later and far away. Likewise, each small meanness, each thoughtless expression of hatred, each envious and bitter act, regardless of how petty, can inspire others and is therefore the seed that ultimately produces evil fruit, poisoning people whom you have never met and never will. All human lives are so profoundly and intricately entwined, those dead, those living, those generations yet to come, that the fate of all is the fate of each, and the hope of humanity rests in every heart and every pair of hands. What he is talking about is the power of will and the ability to make conscious choices that are life-giving, that are kind. And we can do that with greater ease if we are willing to do our inner work of releasing old patterns and beliefs which limit our capacity to more fully express our God nature. And this is why I love New Thought, because we teach the truth of living our oneness. Our practice is about getting these teachings of love and oneness as principle down into the minutia of our lives, where they make a difference, both to ourselves and to those around us, with the choices we make in circles rippling ever outward. What keeps us from doing so are those old unconscious or barely conscious patterns and beliefs. And that's why this work, this teaching is so important. The more we can release ourselves from that old gunk, the more we are free to use our will to make choices from a higher place. The choice to argue or fight with the drunk man on the train wouldn't have accomplished anything more than further humiliation for the drunk man. But a higher choice of a few kind words perhaps started him on the road to healing and rebuilding his self-esteem. And if we are going to create a world with more peace and more acceptance, it is my belief that we're going to have to embody and express a higher love by doing our work so that love can show up in our daily choices. Now I realize that this story of the man on the train is just one small story, and it in and of itself didn't affect the tides of our society. It is not in and of itself earth-shattering, but it did plant seeds, and it changed Terry Dobson forever. Before his death in late 1992, he had taught Aikido for 25 years and brought the principles of Aikido to conflict management and personal growth seminars in education, mediation, and business. The day on the train, he said, was a pivotal moment. He used the power of will to make different choices from that moment forward. We have to start somewhere. And it's easier to begin where the buttons aren't so hot and where we can hang on to the expanded vibrational place we've cultivated by doing our work. And as we clear more and vibrate higher, the choices we make will come from a place of greater and greater alignment with divine mind. So, let's keep doing our work. Let's keep using our will to make those little differences until one day they all add up to a new place, a new world that we can't even see from here. George Leonard, who is the author of The Way of Aikido, tells us, realize that harmony can spring from the meeting of opposites. What Aikido teaches is an expression of love, a willingness to embrace even the strongest attack and bring it into a circle of concord and somehow connects each individual to the essential unity and harmony of the universe. And we can use our will to choose to embody this. Paul Hasselbeck leaves us with a powerful affirmation. I claim my power of will now. I choose, decide, and lead based on divine ideas. Our teachings only have value if we live them. It's why it's so important that we immerse ourselves in these teachings and our work through Sunday lessons, classes, a meditation practice, studying, so that we can rout out those old patterns and use our will to make choices from that place of a clearer and higher vibration. There are infinite possibilities in those moments of choice, and how liberating to not be limited to an unconscious, knee-jerk reaction, but to be at choice like the old man on the train. You like sake? I like sake too. How about that? One final quote by Dean Koontz. No one's life should be rooted in fear. We are born for wonder, for joy, for hope, for love, to marvel at the mystery of existence, to be ravished by the beauty of the world, to seek truth and meaning, to acquire wisdom, and by our treatment of others, to brighten our little corner of the world. Let us use our power of will to do just that. Brighten our little corner of the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. That was really a great lesson. I'd like to now invite the ushers to come forward. As we come to the time of our offering, we get to practice the abundance that we are. So as you take your love offering into your hands, please hold it to your heart and affirm to yourself, I give freely and joyfully, for God is my source, and I have abundance in all areas of my life. And now please join me in saying our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
1, 2, 3, 4. I love the East, I love the West, and North or South, they're both the best. But I'll only go there as a guest, 'cause I love being here with you. I love the sea, I love the sea, I love the shore, I love the rocks, and what is more, with you they'd never be a bore, 'cause I love being here with you. Singing in the shower, laughing by the hour, life is such a breezy game. Of all kinds of weather, as long as we're together, I love to hear you say my name. I like good wine, and fine cuisine, and candid light, I like the sea. Love that sea. But baby, if you know what I mean, I love being here with you. Catch this. I like to dance by Fred Astaire and Brando's eyes, Yul Brynner's hair, but I think to tell you's only fair. I love being here with you and Cary Grant. Oh, do-da-day, his utter charm takes me away. But don't get me wrong, how do you say? I love being here with you. Basie's band is swinging, I like Ella singing, 'cause there's something else you know. They know how to say it, they all know how to play it, they wind up and they let it go. I love the thrill of New York shows, I love to kiss Durante's nose, but I just like to stay before I close. I love being here with you. I can't get enough of you. I love being here with you. It's a good mantra to take home with you.
So let us gather our hearts and minds together. knowing once again that we are one, and together bless these offerings, knowing that they are a blessing because of the divine law of circulation. They are a blessing to those who gave, they are a blessing to this community, and they are a blessing to the greater world for which you guys bless as part of your community and what you do here. And so it is.
Please stand and join us.
I'm choosing heaven today.
Yeah, we're going to choose some heaven to go along with loving to be with you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. Love. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of love right now, singing I'm choosing love today. Grace. I'm choosing grace today. I'm choosing grace today. I am walking the road of grace right now, singing I'm choosing grace today. Joy. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of joy right now. I'm choosing joy today. Heaven. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing joy heaven today. Tag it. I'm choosing heaven of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today.
Thank you. What a great service today. Great music once again. Thank you so much for sharing. And now, as we conclude our service, we're going to say together our prayer of protection. And we do include everyone, everywhere. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And once again, we thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very blessed week ahead. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. And if you don't have masks, we do have masks available when you come in at the little entry desk. So next Sunday, we'll be back in our masks. And now please rise, and we'll join together for our peace song, Holding Our Space.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2.